September, the first day of school. New blue blazes everywhere, leaves and conkers underfoot, but an untouched sky and summer clinging on. And now I thought I understood why my son had been so quiet and preoccupied all through the long holiday. I should have guessed, shouldn't I? Sooner or later, there was going to be a girl. I'd wanted to believe it was just because he was 15. I watched him watching the girl. His face got red just looking at her. You could talk to her, I said. You could just walk right up to her and, talk to her. Pat laughed. He watched the girl dawdling by the school gates, black-haired, brown-eyed, laughing, swinging a rucksack stuffed with books, tall for her age, radiant in the blue blazer of Ramsay MacDonald Comprehensive School, surrounded by admirers. Talk to her, he muttered, all polite disbelief, as though I'd said, levitate, why don't you? The ladies love a bit of levitation. The chicks go crazy when they see a lad who can levitate. Probably not, he said. Is she in your year, I said. He shook his head, and a matted veil of blonde hair fell over his eyes. He pushed it away with a sigh. The lovesick Hamlet of the local comp. No, she's year 11. So she was a year older than Pat. She was 16, an older woman. I should have guessed he would fall for an older woman. I watched him fumbling nervously with the Predator football boots that were resting on his lap. Do you know her name, I asked. He took a breath. He swallowed. He brushed some flakes of dried mud from his Ramsay Mac blazer. He did not look at me. He kept looking at her. He was afraid he might miss something. Elizabeth Montgomery, he said. The 8 syllables tripped off his tongue. The way he said them, it was infinitely more than a name. It was a sigh, a prayer, a kiss, a love song. He slumped back in the passenger seat, weak with exhaustion. It had taken a lot out of him, saying Elizabeth Montgomery's name. Just talk to her, I said, and his face burned again at the very thought of it. He looked at me, but what would I say? What do you want to say? I want to tell her. He shook his head, struck dumb, but then it came in a barely audible torrent. I want to tell her that she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, that her eyes, they shine. They just shine, that's all, like black fire or something. I shifted uneasily in my seat. Well, Pat, some of that stuff you say for the second date. But he was at that age where he still believed in the secret language of girls.